This is coming from McGhee's Clearing and Grading, located in Hogansville, Georgia. On this job right here, the customer wanted to have a 1,000-yard shooting lane. And as you can see, it's going to have to go through a swamp with several creeks. Now, the videos is going to show you the beginning of the job when we first started all the way to the end of the job. And you'll kind of see what it took for us to complete the job. And after the job was completed, not only could the customer shoot his guns at over 1,000 yards, but he was also able to drive his vehicles down the shooting lane where he has another access to land that he owns on the other side of the swamp right here. Right, this is me and my son in the dump truck, and what we're doing here, I'm pulling up next to my dad in the traco where he'll load the dump bed full of dirt, and then I'll back up around 200 yards, and as you can see in the picture here, my brother's in the bulldozer, and when I dump it, he's going to spread that dirt, and that's how we're kind of making the road across the swamp right here. Kind of an overhead shot right here. You can kind of see the road we're working and the dead trees on both sides of the swamp here. Just show you that everything's more or less dead out through the swamp right here where we're working. And this is my brother spreading the dirt right here on the roadway, and he's having to build the roadway up above the water level in the swamp. As you can see, water on the side of the roadways right here. There's more of the pipes that we put in place up on the road to drain some of the water. And what that does, that allows the water to flow up under the roadway without crossing over the roadway and ruining the road. Here's a nice sized creek. We've had to put a pipe in place and just allows the creek to flow up under the roadway. Now this part right here that you're looking at, that's part of the shooting range, but it's so wet and muddy out in this area right here, we wasn't able to take the bulldozer out here, so we've had to go in with chainsaws, and we've been able to take the traco out here and kind of move around the trees to clear this area right here, because that's going to be like towards the end of the shooting range. Now from what I just showed you on the area where we had to go in with the chainsaws and cut, I've turned directly around and I'm looking back down the shooting range toward the beginning of it, and you can kind of see the roadway where we've built it up and all, and working on it right here. Now this is a good shot. You can see the roadway and you can see the swamp over to your left. Now that swamp come all the way across that roadway where we've had to build it up in order to make it across the swamp right here. Now this is a picture I took out of the dump truck right here. You can see the creek going up under the roadway right here and how much water is actually flowing up under the roadway. This right here is just showing my brother spreading the dirt that I just dumped with the dump truck as he's building the road up right here. Now this is me and my son in the dump truck, and he was able to do some filming this day right here, and he films me, just kind of gives you an idea of the dump truck procedures and all. Now I've already got filled full of dirt, and I have backed up. I'm about to dump the dirt out of the dump bed on the back of the dump truck, as you'll see right here. I'm raising the dump bed at this time. And there's the dirt that I'm dumping out of the dump bed. And after I dump this dirt out of the dump bed, I'll put the bed back down and I'll pull the dump truck back up to where my dad is to get loaded again with the track hoe right here. And you can be able to see my dad loading me. Now here, this red dirt that I'm being loaded with, it's got a lot of moisture in it. It sticks to the bed, so it gets built up in the bed of this dump truck. So every now and then I have to back up and raise the bed, and you can see right here my dad with the track hoe is actually having to scrape the dirt out of the bed right here. Now this section right here is the section I was explaining to you earlier about. It was so swampy and so wet that you really can't take the bulldozer in this area right here and clear it, where we can put dirt and make a roadway. So my brother's having to get the chainsaw and cut the trees down in order to make the lane. And my dad was able to get out there with a track hoe, and the trees that my brother was cutting down, he was able to pick these trees up and move them out of the shooting lane. And then after he does that, my brother has to go back with the chainsaw, and the stumps that are out there, he has to try his best to cut the stumps as low as he can against the ground so they won't be in the way. Now working out here in the swamp with all the mud and water, it's critical to keep these machines greased. And the reason you want to keep them greased is a lot of this is metal on metal, and then you put water and mud in between this metal and metal, it'll just wear it out. You'll have breakdowns. So eliminate a lot of breakdowns and a lot of wearage. We'll grease these machines pretty often throughout the day, and this right here is just my dad and my son greasing the bucket area of the track hoe right here. This is the time of day right here we all look forward to, just standing around eating our lunch, having a good time and talking. Just kind of looking down the roadway on some we've done and some gravel that we've put down over the muddy area. There's my dad on the track hoe, he's down here. There's a pipe that we're going to put in up on the roadway. A lot of debris on the side of the roadway that we've had to clear. Just kind of removing some of the dead trees away from the roadway right here. Again, this is the part of the shooting range towards the end of it that we're having to get out in it and clear. There are some big trees, and sometimes instead of pushing the trees over, we have to get the chainsaw and cut the trees down. So I'm filming this right here. This is my brother. He's working on this big pine tree right here, getting it sawed as close to the ground as possible with the chainsaw. Now as I'm walking down here closer right here, you can see how big and tall this pine tree is. My brother's finally getting it cut enough to where it'll fall over. There's so many trees around it that the tree falls and actually gets hung up on some more trees and is not able to fall all the way to the ground. So we're going to have to get my dad with the track hoe to come up here and kind of push this tree down to the ground and move it out of the roadway. This is just my brother with a chainsaw kind of moving out of the way so my dad can get up here with a track hoe and grab this pine tree. As you'll see in a second, he'll grab it with the bucket and kind of spin the bottom around, and that'll allow the top of it to fall on through these other trees and to the ground. And there it goes right there. Let's show you how big it is. And once it falls, it is so long that we have to cut the tree sometimes in several halves and just move them parts of the tree out of the roadway because it's so long. Again, this is my brother going back on one of the trees that he sawed earlier and trying to get it closer to the ground as he can. But sometimes it takes a while working with these stumps. They're so big. with a chainsaw. Now here's some gravel that we've dumped on the ground right here, and I'm going to get on the skid steer and kind of spread this gravel out over a real muddy area right here. There was a small underground spring going across the roadway right here, as you can see the water. So we've had to get the trackhoe and dig a little ditch, and we're putting a little pipe to let this water drain up under the roadway and not over the roadway. And then after we get the pipe installed, we'll put the dirt over the pipe, and then I'll go back with the skid steer right here and spread some gravel over it to keep it from washing. This is my dad cutting down a big tree. My brother's on the trackhoe at this time, kind of putting pressure on the tree so the tree don't fall back across the roadway, and he's pushing it out in the swamp. Now this right here, my brother was cutting the tree, and the tree come back toward him and pinched the chainsaw in the tree, so he wasn't able to pull it out. So I had to get my dad to come down here with a trackhoe and put pressure on that tree and push it over. And as you can see, as he pushes the tree over, my brother's got his hand on the chainsaw, and he's able to pull that chainsaw blade out from in the tree. And he quickly gets away from the tree while my dad pushes that tree out across the swamp. Like I said, this is down towards the end of the shooting range in the swamp. This is my dad right here. I was with him while he was cutting several trees down. They were going to be in the way of this shooting range right here. A lot of these trees you see between me and my dad right here will have to be cut down with a chainsaw. As you see right here, this is all the mud and stuff in the swamp that we're having to work with. This is one of the pipes that we put in that's allowing one of the creeks to flow up under the roadway right here. That's looking back from the part where we've had to cut with the chainsaw a lot of these trees right here, looking back down the shooting range. Now this right here is the very end of the shooting range where all the trees were. You saw us cutting with the chainsaws and laying the trees over. This is kind of what it looks like now after we've gotten the trees cut down and moved. Here's another good sized creek right here we're going to have to put a pipe in. As you can see, my dad's on the trackhoe and we've wrapped a chain around the pipe right here. My dad will pick the pipe up and spin it around and lay it in the creek. After he lays it in the creek right here, we'll undo the chain, and then my dad, he'll start putting dirt on top of the pipe. And while he's doing that, we're going to stand by and make sure the pipe stays straight in the creek bed. So that's what we're doing right here. We're just more or less standing here making sure the pipe doesn't move around or switch angles while he's putting dirt on top of the pipe right here. Well, this is the second pipe. I showed you the first pipe with the big creek. This right here is a smaller pipe we put in, and all this right here was out through here was nothing but standing water. As you can see already, you can walk out there. I'm pretty sure it's still wet, but there's no standing water. The only standing water is gonna be right here at the pipe, so it's already drained out up under the roadway right here. And all this right here was running water for a couple days. And I'm pretty sure when it rains, it's gonna be standing water out there again, but it will eventually drain through that pipe and under the roadway and won't wash this roadway out. So, see, it's just swamp out through here. And we ended up putting, that's 2, this will be 3. We've put 4 pipes so far under the roadway. As you can see that pipe. Here's another pipe we've put in. This right here is the 3rd pipe. You see this does have some water still. There's still some water coming out of it. It is not like it was. There's all the standing water going up under the roadway right here. And there's standing water here. Walk over here and show you this right here. Now all this right here, it was about even with that pipe the other day. As you can tell, standing water still out here some, but it's draining all the way, going through that pipe. And there was water standing all out here in the woods. But it is, like I said, having the pipes in here is going up under the roadway. It's not going to wash the roadway out. So all this was standing water when we first started coming down through here. As you can see, here's another pipe we put in up under the roadway. And there's not even no water right now going in that pipe. A little standing water right there, but all that, you see the discoloration of the leaves where the water was standing. There's no water standing out there now, it's drained it. We're over here clearing off for the shooting range. The man who owns this land, he's wanting at least 1,000 yards. The rain and all, as you can see, this is nothing but, behind me, this is nothing but swamps. And there was between us and the dump truck right there, we've got about 4 ditches we had to dig across the road, up under the roadway, and put pipes. I'll show you one pipe right here. This is one of the bigger pipes that we had to put in, just to kind of give you an idea of how much water was coming down through here. And like I said, you see where we've cleaned the branch out just a little right here. There it is right here. And that's flowing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That water is non-stop. Goes all the way down. And then it turns and goes, and it actually just kind of goes out through the swamp. It's all wet, real wet. It's wet enough that we can't take the bulldozer out in that area right there. So we've got the chainsaws. We've taken the traco out there and knocking some of the trees down and cut some of them with chainsaws to open it up. So he'll be able to come on, there's a road right here where the truck's sitting. He can come on that road and go around, and it goes to the other side of this area right here. And that's where he's going to put his targets. And he'll be able to, like I said, right there is 1,004 yards. I shot it yesterday with a range finder. From here to the dump truck up there, I'm looking at 400, a little over 430 yards. 430. here is the road that we're pushing, which is going to connect to the shooting range. As you see, we've taken out a few trees right here, kind of cleared a little bit coming up through here, kind of open it up. It's wide, very nice, going to be nice. All right, I just went and got the gravel from LaGrange. There's the dump truck behind me. You can see where they've already cleared the road. He's kind of smoothed it on up right here. Looks real good. You can kind of see in front of me right there, the road going down the hill. You know, the last photos I'd taken earlier, he was just starting to push through the thicket right here. So he's got it cleared by the time looks good by the time I went all the way to LaGrange and got the rock and all. So okay, after we got the gravel dumped on the roadway going down this big old hill, this is kind of the after shot I took of what it looked like. After we got finished clearing off for the shooting lane right here, we went and got the farm tractor, and me and my dad hooked up the seed sower to the back of it and filled it full of grass seeds, and my dad's going to drive back and forth on the shooting lane and put the grass seeds out. Here's my dad on the farm tractor right here. He's putting out the seeds. And as you can see right here to the left side of where he's at, the standing water out here in the swamp. So you can see how we've built this roadway up, because there's water on both sides of this roadway, and now the owner will be able to drive up and down this roadway with no problem at all. Now that we've completed the shooting range, this right here is where they'll set and shoot down range, and I'm going to shoot a video of the whole entire range. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Well, now that we finished up the job, we've already moved all the equipment except for this bulldozer and the farm tractor from the job site. As you can see here, we just loaded it up and got everything buckled down, and we're fixing to head out. And I want to thank you for taking your time to watch this video. And if you have any needs or anything, any work or projects you need to complete, just give us a call. It's McGhee's Clearing and Grading, and you can contact me through the comments here, or you can look up McGhee's Clearing and Grading on Facebook and give us a call. Thank you so much.